to the Rosbifs Rugby preview of Brive. Yes, we are doing a preview of each team in Pro D2 here at Rosbifs Rugby, your one-stop shop for all things French rugby. And for the first time of these previews, the observant of you will have noticed that I am wearing the stash of the team that I'm actually previewing. Yes, this is my lovely Brive Adidas hoodie. They've got some very, very smart stash. We were there last year. Rich actually went for the semi-final against Montauban, but we went there last September as well for the opening of their new stand, actually. And the burgers were excellent as well, must say that. But let's get into this preview of Brive. And Brive are an absolutely fascinating team when it comes to Pro D2. They get a lot of airtime, over here anyway, certainly in all the UK press, because of, well, partly because of Joe Worsley at FR UK. You know, he's on the coaching team at Brive, and he is brilliantly, fantastically bringing Pro D2 to the UK public via FR UK. You can watch Pro D2 free on their YouTube channel, one game a week. But there's also quite a strong English presence at Brive generally, and has been for a long time. You know, they've had English investors, they've got an English club president, but also Courtney Laws, you know, a legend of English rugby, has gone there for 2 years. He was there last year. But they also get a lot of airtime because they've got the biggest budget in Pro D2. So they're kind of the numbers that you see Brive there, their kind of 22 million euro budget, whatever. That's a big amount of money. And also their attendance. They got, you know, they had I mentioned the highest attendance, mentioned the new stand last year. They had the highest average attendance in Pro D2 last season, I think. But to kind of sum them up, they are a big spending club that are stuck in the second tier. You should support them because of that English presence if you want. The stash is very smart. It's black and white Adidas. You can't go wrong. The flights there are really cheap. You can fly to Brive directly for often below 20 quid. Or Limoges actually as well, which is only an hour away on the train. Also does a few really, really cheap flights. Last year, I mean, they're stuck in the second tier. They were in the barrage. They were top 14 a few years ago. Their first season down, they made it into the barrage and into the semi-finals. And they lost their home semi-final last season. And ultimately, they really, really, really did cock it up. They were really good throughout the season. They've got a big, heavy pack that looks to steamroller absolutely everyone. They had the best defence in the league last season by quite some way as well. And they got some big booming boots. Kerwin Bosch's boot was fantastic at times. They really, really need to improve their discipline. They had the worst record last season, both in terms of cards, with 43 cards in 30 games, and for reds. They had 6 reds, 37 yellows in 30 games. Their key players I mentioned, Kerwin Bosch, is big boot, capable of some beautiful running rugby. But the other key players are their forwards. It's their big pack. Courtney Laws, of course, still the same heroic, freakish, big courts that you remember from his time with England, the Lions, Northampton. He was one of our top 3. He was on our shortlist for Pro D2 Player of the Season. He was a shoo-in for our Pro D2 Team of the Season. Another key player for them, Marcel van der Merwe. He brings all that you expect from a Springbok tight head prop. He's only got a handful of caps, but he's just so big and such a big drop-off behind him. I think that kind of cost them in the semi-final, actually. As I mentioned, they cocked it up and they kind of all went in. That 7-1 split, I think it was. They just still couldn't quite back up Marcel van der Merwe and Simon-Pierre Chauvac, the other key cog in that front row, with van der Merwe and also Lucas de Silva, the hooker. They were the key players for Brive last season. Another unsung hero in that pack, Rosbifs Rugby, huge tackle count, great line-out athlete. I've mentioned their big pack. They've lost the thing. You know, Rich has got them to finish second because it feels like there's too much quality there for them to fail again. I've gone 5th because I am slightly confused by their off-season, their transfer window, if you like. They've lost some big names. They've lost Ross Moriarty, who had a lot of injuries, a lot of big injuries, a lot of nasty injuries, but was really good when he played for Brive. Couple of experienced internationals in Matthias Moroni, current Argentine centre. He actually came in as a medical joker for Sam Johnson, the former Scottish international, who was really good at Brive. But they've also lost their kind of 2 best young players in Leo Carbonneau and Mathis Furte, who Mathis Furte back three player generally, was brilliant at fullback, looked good under the high ball, but kind of became first choice scrum half, kind of overtaking Leo Carboneau. They were both brilliant in the under-20s. Really, really talented players. The fact they've gone to... Leo Carboneau has been signed by Racing. Mathis Ferte has been signed by Toulon. You'd think Toulon don't really need another fullback / scrum half with some of the options that they've got, but they've still signed him. That shows the quality that Mathis Ferte had. And the guys they've lost a couple of French qualified GIFs who are going to be French internationals at some point, you would think. And the guys they've brought in, it feels like it's a kind of top 14 signings. It's kind of players you would sign to keep you in the top 14, and they haven't made the top 14. There's a lot of experience in John Cooney, Ben Tapuai, Julien Tisserand, played at Montpellier for years. A lot of experience can be a double-edged sword, though. You know, Pro D2, there's a lot of guys in their mid-30s, and those guys are in their mid-30s and have been playing some top-level rugby. John Cooney was brilliant at Ulster. Ben Tapuai was fantastic whenever he filled in at Ube Bay in ultimately what was a very, very good backline at Ube Bay. We really, really like Jamie Shilcock. We think that's a fantastic signing. He was an absolute revelation at Leicester. He's a really good player, but how does he fit in with Coe and Bosch? They're both very similar players of kind of really good kicking game, can play 10, can play 15, really exciting running game. Interesting to see how they work that together. One of them you'd think will start at 10, one of them will play 15. Excited to see how that works. They have still retained a load of their young talent. They've got Georges Shvilidze, who is a regular centre starter and capped by Georgia. Nathan Freysonon, promising loosehead, he's got a load of game time. And another fly half in Luca Kelatuana, who had some lovely touches in the under-20s at fly half. Definitely not the finished article yet, but plenty of talent there for sure. Given a lot of information there about Brive. It's, like I said, it's hard to know where they're at. Interesting to see if their game plan develops. Will they have a kind of more dual playmaker thing with Shilcock and Bosch there? John Cooney at 9, perhaps that gives them a bit more direction. Maybe it's actually a sign that they're going to move towards double down on the big man physicality, especially with Tapuai coming in as 12. Are they going to play a bit more, even more direct rugby? It's really interesting to see. A lot of information there. In a sentence, I would say they've spent big after cocking it up last season, but it feels like a lot of changes. Let us know what you think and what you expect from Brive this year. Get in the comments. If you appreciate our Pro D2 previews, make sure you subscribe to see the whole of this playlist. And make sure you follow Rosbifs Rugby and watch out for the Rosbifs Rugby podcast. It's out every week of the French rugby season. Get in touch. Give us a subscribe. But let us know what you think about Brive, because it's a fascinating one, and we want to know what you think about it. Get in touch.